What's up, everybody? Andrew Mahone here with Darian's Competitive Pokemon, doing a different kind of style card of the day video today. So I'm trying something different. Gonna have the card art over here. Maybe it's over here. I don't know. Maybe it's up, down, somewhere. It's gonna be somewhere, okay? Probably over here. I think it's gonna be over here. Maybe. But the card art's gonna be over here somewhere. We're gonna be talking about it so that you guys can see me, see the card. You know, card might be a little bit bigger, might be a little bit clearer. But anyways, we're gonna see how we like this one, as opposed to just the kind of weird zoomed in card of the day video that we had been doing in the past. So I've got a very interesting card of the day today. Just noticed this guy as we were opening packs of Shining Legends on stream today. Today's card of the day is Shining Rayquaza. I think this thing is super sweet, so I'm here to talk about it. Shining Rayquaza is a basic Pokemon. This thing is awesome. I think just Shining Rayquaza just looks so cool. Look at this thing. I mean, it's black, it's gold, black and yellow, black and yellow. I mean, what more do you want out of Dragon-type Pokemon? This thing is awesome. It's a beast of a card, and it could do 190 damage. I mean, that's absolutely ridiculous. I was looking at this thing, and I realized it's actually not completely unplayable. I had originally just kind of glanced over this without really paying it too much of a mind. However, that Sky Judgment attack is actually, you know, has some comparisons, you know, in past formats, and there are some things we could compare it to and actually say that it actually kind of, you know, is an attack that is mildly usable. So let's take a look at this card and see, you know, what its deal is. Shining Rayquaza's got 120 hit points, Dragon-type basic Pokemon. 120 hit points for a basic-type Pokemon. Fantastic. Non-EX, non-GX. 120 is about as good as it gets. Obviously, 130, you know, we're talking about those old-school Zekrom, Reshiram. Some of those Dragon-type Pokemon, Kyurem, had 130 hit points. They had that Outrage attack as well. There are some other basic Pokemon with 130 hit points, but heck, I mean, there's a lot of Stage 1s that do not even have 120 hit points. So 120 hit points on a basic non-EX, non-GX Pokemon is absolutely sweet. I mean, this thing's Dragon type. That means an expanded format has access to double Dragon energy. So that's something to take into consideration as well. The fact that this is a non-EX and non-GX means that it will have access to that counter energy when that gets released too. So these are all options for powering up its very expensive Sky Judgment attack. This Shining Rayquaza does have two attacks. Let's look at them. The first attack, Dragon Pulse, says discard the top 2 cards of your deck. For 1 lightning energy, does 40 damage. If you have a choice band attached to this thing, you're going to be doing 70 damage for 1 energy, which is actually super cool. However, discarding the top 2 cards of your deck is not super cool. So, very destructive attack. However, you can get in there on the first turn of the game and start poking away at your opponent if you feel confident in the fact that you don't maybe have so many valuable resources in your deck that you cannot afford to discard. It can be useful in some sort of scenarios. Can also be useful in a pinch just to be able to poke your opponent's Pokemon if you just need to do a little bit more damage in order to knock it out. But the real reason I'm talking about this card is because of that Sky Judgment attack. For a fire, 2 lightning, and a colorless, Sky Judgment does 190 damage and requires that you discard 3 energy from this Pokemon. That is a huge attack. I mean, instantly I go to Rayquaza EX and I'm thinking about that attack that costs the fire and the lightning energy, and you discarded either all the fire or all lightning energy, and you did 60 damage times the amount of either lightning or fire that you discarded in that way. In the same kind of fashion, I mean, if that Rayquaza EX had 1 fire and 3 lightning attached to it, you could discard all the lightning and you do 180 damage. So this thing is pretty comparable to that Rayquaza EX that was very, very popular in the Ray board deck and in the Ray Eels deck as well. However, this has a very similar attack to that Rayquaza EX, and it's a non-EX, right? This is a non-EX Pokemon that could conceivably bust out 190 damage turn after turn. There are a bunch of ways to accelerate to this guy. In expanded format, you could use that Dynamotor E-Electric to Dynamotor lightning energies, you know, from the discard pile to the benched Rayquaza, Shining Rayquaza, and if you put 3 lightning energies onto your Shining Rayquaza, you can manually attach a fire energy card from hand and Sky Judgment for 190 damage. If you are playing Fighting Fury Belt, that's 200 damage. If you're playing Choice Band, that's 220 damage from a non-EX, non-GX, which is absolutely astounding. Pretty cool, right? So, electric and expanded format, that's one way to power this thing up. Even in standard format, we do have Magnezone. So, you could play, you know, Magnezone, Rayquaza, and just like the Pikachu EX Magnezone deck, I mean, we put 4 or 5 energies onto Pikachu EX, had to discard them all to do like 200, 250 damage. It was crazy. We had some good times, but the deck ended up not being very meta, and that's fine. I mean, it was cool. We blew some people up with Pikachu and we had a great time. Shining Rayquaza has the same kind of potential as Pikachu has. You could Sky Judgment in a Magnezone deck, and the thing is, you only need to put 3 Lightning Energy onto this thing. You accelerate the Fire Energy just by manually attaching, so you attach manually the Fire Energy, and you accelerate 3 Lightning Energy, and so long as you can get the 3 Lightning Energy onto this thing, then you could just use Sky Judgment for 190 damage. If you're playing Choice Band, 220 damage, huge amounts of damage coming from this Shining Rayquaza, and it's a non-EX, non-GX, so that means conceivably in a Magnezone deck, you could, you know, have a field where you only have Magnezones and Shining Rayquazas out, and you have no weak Pokemon EX and GX for your opponent to pick off. I mean, that was the major weakness of the Pikachu deck, is that the Pikachu just had 130 hit points. That's pretty horrible, right? But Shining Rayquaza has almost as much hit points as the Pikachu, and he does not get knocked out as easily. And he only does, you know, if you consider Pikachu did 4 energy for 200, he does 4 energy for 190. So, pretty close in damage output. Totally better in the fact that he's not an EX or GX. So, Shining Rayquaza could be seen in a Magnezone deck. I may or may not build it and try to have some fun with it. But, you know, might not end up being that great. But anyways, it could be a fun little league deck if you wanted to build it. It does have a weakness to Fairy-type Pokemon, which is pretty run-of-the-mill for your Dragon-type Pokemon nowadays, and a retreat cost of 3, which is hefty and annoying. However, once this thing gets into the active, the idea is just going to be to accelerate to it and to continue to blow things up until it gets knocked out. So, you know, retreat cost of 3, whatever. You're going to be playing this in a deck that accelerates energy anyway, so you're not really going to care. And you're probably just going to want this thing in the active, just swinging for the fences anyway. Like I said, in expanded format, you do have access to Double Dragon Energy. I'm not entirely sure that Double Dragon Energy is going to be the best pairing for this card. You could play it in kind of like a turbo Shining Rayquaza deck. There is a Reshiram that accelerates fire energy from your hand to your benched Pokemon. And what you could do is you could accelerate fire energy to this thing with the Reshiram and then attach Double Dragon Energy from hand and discard 3 energy to blow up things. So that is another valid option. That there was a Turbo Tina deck that used that same strategy, Giratina EX, and you accelerated with the Reshiram, and then you use Double Dragon Energy to power up Giratina EX Chaos Wheel. You could use the same thing with the Shining Rayquaza with that Turbo Blaze Reshiram and your Double Dragon Energies in expanded format. So that's it for my card of the day, Shining Rayquaza. I think this thing is super sweet. Gonna be trying to get myself a few copies of this just to try it out in some fun decks. 190 damage, nothing to joke around about, and I think there are some ways to accelerate onto this, so it's pretty exciting. Thank you all for watching. Let me know what you think of the new style of the card of the day videos. Do you like seeing my ugly face, yes or no? Or would you rather just look at the card as we were doing in the past? So let me know what you all think. Anyways, thank you all for being here. Thank you all for watching the video. Let me know what you think of Shining Rayquaza in the comments below. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Peace.